MK, and I am here with a Messy Monday layout for you guys today. I am also playing along with a Scraptember, and today's prompt is puffy stickers, and we are still working our way from gelatos and art crayons. So I pulled out this close to my heart embossing folder that is like planks. I'm not really sure exactly if you can see it or not, but that is something I'm going to give it a try. I also have a leftover of these tree clusters that we had during our 31 days of cut files. And then I just went through my stash and pulled out a ton of other little random trees. Like these acrylic trees were broken from when I was making tree clusters. And then I've got these close to my heart laser cut out trees that I think were from a camping kit from a couple years back. Here's my photo. And then I also have a sneak peek at what will be on our release today. So I've got these labels and single flowers that are laser cut out, and I am super excited to use them on this layout. I also have these thickers from Captured Colorful, something like that. I'm having a really hard time using them. I was so excited to get them, but they are uber old as well, and I just can't use them. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to try to get one or two on a layout today. Not the titles, but at least some of the little pieces around. I have another little scrap project that I created using my little page kits that I made during my cleanup. You guys hopefully will see that coming up soon. So far, the cleanup, I think, has just been stamps and layouts being put away. But hopefully you'll get to see me make these page kits. It's going to go by uber fast because if not, it'll be a couple hours long. So there's all the scraps that I have from 49 in a Market, Art and Creative, and of course, I have no idea where that cardstock is because it's not close to my heart cardstock. And then these are all the gelatos that I picked out. They're every green color, but they end up being too neon green. They're not the forest green I was looking for, but in the end, I still end up making it happen. So I'm going to go and emboss my blue paper. I'm going to color my trees, and then hopefully I'll do my background in, what's it called? In gelatos as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is color my trees, and I'm going to do a blend of green because I really wanted a dark green, and I just don't have it. That green that's closest to my hand is the darkest green that I have, and I don't know if I should have added blue or not. I was a little on the scared side to get some blue. I know that when you paint with watercolors, a lot of people will add blue into their green and get that color that they're looking for, but I was worried about adding the blue and then it become teal. So I don't know. I definitely should have practiced a little bit on a scrap piece of paper first, but in the end, I just don't I just don't want to do that. But here's where I try to add a little bit and I start to get the color that I want. I also ripped the top of my tree off, but that's okay. I glue it back on anyways. It's what happens. It's just still not dark enough. And I'm trying to match it to the paper that is actually from my old paper pad called Adventurer's Log. I completely sold out of that. I should bring some of it back, but I'm not really sure how that works. If you just keep moving forward or you keep bringing old papers back, I don't know. But I definitely, yeah. So here I had two colors that look the same. One is marked and the other one is not. And in the end, I assumed that they were all the same. So I'm going to go ahead and rub one of them on half of this embossing folder image, and then the other half I was going to do with the same crayon just to see if they were any different. And yeah, they were both the same. I just didn't understand why one was marked and the other one wasn't. I think I bought a starter set and then I bought another different type of set, and so I have a couple duplicates. I think that's how that ended up, but I don't know why some of them aren't marked. So I'm just going to take my blender tool and blend out my little rub-on so you can see the embossing folder. So I just very lightly rub the gelato. Sorry, I was going to call it a crayon. I very lightly rub it on top of just the ridges so it doesn't go down into, but then when I emboss or when I use my blending tool, it puts it down inside the ridges. So, but it still looks like really cool. And then it's also shiny. I know that's technical terms. It looks really cool. So here is the end result. I absolutely love it. And I am going to do something with the edges. I did not want to put the embossing all the way down. And then, of course, I was going to distress the ridges as well, but it's solid core cardstock. And so when I ran my sander over the cardstock, it just didn't do anything. So I was like, oh, well, that was a waste. This is why I like my white core cardstock, but this is solid all the way through. So I don't know whose cardstock this is or where I got it, but I think this is my last little scrap, so yay. And then I was going to do the edges as well, but I kind of like how the edges are now a different color. So I'm just going to leave them ripped just the way they are. That edge distressor is back in stock in case anybody is curious at all. I know it was out of stock for a very, very long time. So I do apologize about that. I'm going to trim my photo down. Oh, my husband just brought me a drink. I'm sorry. I didn't know that, but I didn't know it was filmed. I apologize. But I'm going to trim it down and then just use these 3 papers as they are, except for the glitter paper. I'm going to trim it down so that way I can use it in 2 different spots instead of one. I'll trim it down. I'm going to cut it in half. That's what I'm going to end up doing. But it was this glitter paper and this mountain paper from the Adventure Log collection that definitely Adventurer's Log. Sorry, I keep missing the S. But that's what brought together the whole paper page kit with all my scraps fiasco. It was just this glitter paper and this mountain paper put next to each other, and I was like, those are gorgeous. And so all of a sudden I was starting to make page kits. It was totally random, not expected at all, and yeah, I'm super happy about it because all the page kits are really fun, and I cannot wait to bring them together and create with them. So I just went ahead and cut the glitter paper in half. I don't even care if the corners, normally I try to hide those little pointy edges from the triangle, but I'm not even going to try. I just thought it was a cool aspect. Maybe it'll get covered with embellishments. Maybe it won't. I have no idea. I have a little bit of leftover of this Simple Stories wood grain piece, and I know it's Simple Stories because on the other side, it's like a ledger paper or a notebook paper. And so that was part of their essential wood grain collection. And then the polka dots are from Arden Creative, but I don't end up using the strips of polka dots. I just don't have room on my layout. And then, of course, the branding strip is from 49 & Market, I believe the Nature Study. So I keep getting the Nature Study and the Hike More collection a little bit mixed up. So I think that's Nature Study. And yeah, and of course you guys know me, it's an outdoor photo. I'm going to rough up the edges, and I keep forgetting about my little vacuum. You guys, it is still new in my process, so it'll take me a bit to implement it fully. So I do still take all of my paper dandruff, I think is what Janet calls it, and wipe it off and then throw it away. So yes. So I'm just trying to get to see where this polka dot paper fits. And like I said, it just becomes too much because it doesn't leave me enough white space to add some more gelato in the background. So I'm not really sure. So I've got a little bit more scraps and a little bit more of this glitter, and I thought that I would just add them to my layout in random little spots. Like I want a cluster here, I want my title here, and then of course I've got my photo here. So that's basically what my brain was thinking was where I wanted clusters, where I wanted my title, and then of course the main point was my 3 o'clock in the morning picture. We stopped at a meeting point where all the caravan was all collecting together. And so while we waited, I rolled my window down, stuck my camera out, and I just took a picture randomly. And when it popped up on my phone, my girlfriend was like, how did you do that? Like, she didn't even see those trees in the dark. And it was just a really gorgeous picture. And so it struck the conversation of how her phone doesn't do that. But I thought her phone was the same as my phone. And so she went and ended up with one of the new phones. And so we hooked her up with how to take gorgeous nighttime pictures. So yeah, it's really cool to point it in the dark and then you get this gorgeous picture. All right, so I'm going to do a foggy haze, just like it's in my picture, on my layout, just to add a little bit more blue that's down in the bottom up to the top. And then I'm also going to do another one over around my other, like around the other mountain piece that is behind the picture. Good morning. I just feel like I'm very not so professional this morning. So I am going to outline them just so that way I know exactly where I need to put because I just want a little fog, a little haze. I wished I would have had a little bit darker, but in the end, it does match really, really well. I forgot that I haven't put my panel down yet, so I'm just trying to push my gelato ink down below my paper strip, but I completely forgot that I hadn't glued it down yet. So give me a minute. I'll remember. There we go. I was just rolling with it. So, and then I'll put it back to see if the fog is enough or if I have to add a little bit more, but I do like the addition of the haze going around the upper portions. It just looks so, I don't know, it just adds the blue. It really does. All right, so now I will glue everything back together. And I am struggling just a little bit that my trees don't match. Like, I have 2 acrylic pieces. I have, I think, 2 of the laser cut pieces from Close to My Heart. And then I have my random bright green tree, which I do try to darken up, I promise. It just does not work. And then in the end, I just went with it. So right now I'm going to go through all of my labels and see where I want basically just base pieces. I'm looking for something to start my clusters with. Not necessarily I need to put something inside each of the label. I'm just looking for almost like what people use doilies for, just a base piece to build up off of. So that was the labels that are going to be new in the shop later this afternoon. I was super excited to share them with you guys today. I really was. I couldn't wait to actually start playing with them until they got into the shop. So I'm super stoked that now I have embellishments. There's also a couple other things that are coming to the shop. So if you guys are up this early, then don't forget to go on my Facebook page, which is in the Linktree link down below. And you will see the event, and that's where the live will be. And I will be sharing everything that is coming out because you do not want to miss that. Because things, the very first week, things sell out super fast. But don't worry, they all come back. Well, not all of them, but they do come back. It's just that first week, everything goes out really fast, faster than I can keep up with. So I keep my quantities low so I can keep up with shipping. And then I bring things back slowly, if that makes any sense. I don't want to have so many orders that I can't keep up with shipping things out and getting them out in time, if that makes any sense. So I'm always thinking about ways to satisfy my customers. All right, so I've got my tree clusters, and I just cannot get another tree to work really well with my cut file. I couldn't get things to blend like I can with the acrylic pieces. I really like those clusters and how they look like the photo, but down at the bottom, I really couldn't get that piece to come. It probably would have looked good without it and just a title right there. But I I wanted to add it. So it was part of my Messy Monday, using the gelatos. And so, yes, I definitely wanted it, but I did try to darken it up. I did try to get it going and whatnot. So I went through my little floral pieces, my little flowers, and tried to pick out all the same design so that way they were cohesive throughout this layout. So I don't end up using, I don't think, maybe I do. I think I do end up using all of the pieces. And then from the Close to My Heart laser cut pieces, I do end up bringing in the wood grain looking hearts. I thought the hearts would look better than the stars. So in that little packet with the trees had stars and hearts. And so I opted on my own, no coaxing whatsoever, to use a little bit of hearts. I just felt like they were a better match than the stars were. Even though it is a nighttime photo, the stars would have made sense, but opted to do the hearts. I love how this mountain paper blends into all of my clusters, especially that one up at the top where you just have the top of the mountain. I really do like how that all adds in. The little arrows were a negative from a punch that I have. I have a border punch that punches out all these arrows, and I watercolored them a very long time ago. And they've been in that little pouch of leftover embellishments from previous layouts for a very long time. And the same with the minty looking, I don't know, banner pieces, I think is what they are. Those have also been in that little baggie forever because I keep pulling them out to try to use them and then they don't work. I believe they are also from either the Hikemore collection or the Nature Study. I don't think they're Nature Study. I think they're too bright for Nature Study. So, but they are $49 in market, and they've been in my little pouch of leftover goodies from previous layouts for a while. So I started with the larger flowers and then went to the medium flowers. And now I'm working my way through the smaller flowers. And basically what I'm doing is I'm just roughing up the edges a little bit so that way they have dimension. Like the petals look like they're really fluffy and flowing. I really like doing this on not just nature layouts, but all the flowers that I work with, just because it gives them a little bit of a lift. And you don't have to add a whole lot of dimension. The acrylic pieces add the dimension on this as well as the puffy piece, the puffy stickers. But when you scuff up your edges, it really just adds life to your layout without a whole lot of dimension, even though in the end it looks like you have a ton of dimension. So off camera, because it took me a bit to build up my clusters, especially when you rough up the edges of every little piece, I decided to take my layout off camera and then go ahead and glue everything down. And now I'm just adding my little hearts to everything. I think my title cluster got a little crooked, but by the time that I'm done, I think I'm happy with it. Just trying to figure out where to add all my little hearts and things. I do like the addition of this little brown a lot because there's brown in my mountains, not a lot, but a little bit. And I like the blue and the teal inside these mountains, and being able to bring it all out on a piece of paper as well. So, and then the hearts, of course, have, like I said, they have a faux wood grain texture on them. So that brings in my little panel piece down at the bottom really, really well. So now I've got wood grain in two different spots. Once you see the layout in real life and you see that wood grain texture on that blue piece, it does really look like it belongs because it matches the mountain paper really well with the color on the raises or on the raised portion and everything. So anyways, that is my layout for today. I am super stoked. Like I said, I love the combination of color. Even though it was probably, it's all because of the mountain paper. Honestly, it really is. I love how the mountain paper, just those tiny little pieces look in the clusters because now it looks like I've got mountains behind my trees. I love that. And then of course I used very little puffy stickers, but it was a reminder for me to use them. I'm just not a big fan, you guys. I get the little puffies of like the stars and the well, I don't use the hearts, but mostly the stars. And I usually use those up as soon as I get them. So I don't have, all I have are these titles. And they're very hard for me to use because normally the names don't really match what I'm trying to create. All right, you guys. So don't forget to check out all the links that I have down below for Messy Monday. I have a playlist for Scraptember. I have a playlist as well as the Facebook group link. And then, of course, I have my LinkedIn link. I haven't talked about that in a very long time, but if you click on that link, it'll take you to my website. It will take you to my Facebook group, my Facebook page, my YouTube, of course, I think my Pinterest and my Instagram. All this different things. It just is a whole tree of links. It'll give you a list of all the links of where you can find me and what I'm up to and things like that. So anyways, that is just another thing that I wanted to talk about because I don't hardly ever talk about. Don't forget to check out the event in my Facebook group page or Facebook page today. For the release of all the goodies that you get to see. And I'm so super excited. All right, you guys, I'll check y'all later. Bye.